the Moneyweb Crypto Podcast, where we discuss all things crypto related. Your host, Kieran Ryan.
South Africans, it turns out, are amongst the most crypto aware in the world. They understand what cryptocurrencies are, but when it comes to Web3, less than 10% know what it is. Web3 is the next evolution of the internet, not just a platform for reading and writing. It's an arena for transacting, tokenizing real-world assets such as property, art, and financial assets, for identity verification, and for a truly decentralized economy extending beyond national borders. Perhaps that sounds utopian, and it is, but there's more. Instead of hopping on a Zoom call with your camera, you'll have the choice of choosing an avatar and meeting in virtual space. Social media will become decentralized and less prone to censorship, and we'll have to get used to a flood of new types of financial services not controlled by banks and traditional providers. That's a lot of ground to cover, and Web3 is evolving by the day. To help us understand this, we're joined by Francesco Andrioli, who leads the developer community efforts at Consensus, and Monica Singer, South African advisor to Consensus. Welcome to both of you, Francesco and Monica. Thanks for joining us on the Moneyweb Crypto Podcast. Monica, if I can start with you, and many of us remember you as the former CEO of Straight, which is the digital clearing and settlement body for the South African financial markets. You're now with Consensus. Can you start off and explain why Web3 is important and give us some practical examples of how it's going to change our lives?
So thank you for having me. The Web3 is changing the world because what we couldn't do when I was building Straight, I was obliged to use the Swift messages to connect the Central Securities Depository to all the parties, because when I tried to use the internet, they said, no, it's not secure, it's not reliable. And that was in 1998, 99, 2000. Now, since really the release of the white paper creating Bitcoin, that we know that we can use the internet for messages that relate to anything to do with value. We could do text, we could do videos, we could do voice, but we could not exchange money. And now in Web3, we can. And that gives the power of the user, not the intermediary, the user, to now be able to create anything in the internet and get paid for it instantly, without intermediaries, without actually using the banking system. So can you see how this is going to change completely the world? Plus the fact that these ledgers where the transactions get recorded are transparent. They have a provenance. They have a complete audit trail. They can be preventing fraud, increases transparency. So just imagine when you have those key principles in place, the imagination of what you can achieve in this industry, it's something that we cannot even begin to comprehend today as to what we're going to see as an explosion of technologies. And that's why the role of Consensus is to build the tools so that the whole world, in a decentralized manner, in a complete open source manner, people can come and use this Internet of Value, we call it Internet of Value also, in any possible way that they can and monetize it for their own advantage.
Okay, thanks for that introduction to what Web3 is. Francesco, help us out here. Where are we in the Web3 life cycle? Baby, infant, or adolescent? What do you say? Where are we?
That's such a great question. I think we're getting these questions a lot, right? Especially because we're so deep in such an ecosystem, but in the same time, we understand that we are definitely in this infancy time, right? So just to recap, thanks again, guys, for having us in the podcast. And it's a big pleasure to also be part of this podcast with Monica. She's leading a lot of great initiative all around the continent and yeah. So I think going back a little bit to your question, Sharon, I think definitely we are around the infancy. It's definitely a big, it's a big marathon. It's not just a sprint. We started seeing different waves of innovation that started from doing very basic transactions, starting with people dealing with NFT, these non-fungible assets. So different ways has brought different type of innovation, and the great things to have in this ecosystem is we are having a very, let's say, solid time for builders, right? Everything is open source. We are really like seeing a great door of innovation where everybody can innovate and contribute to this ecosystem. And I think this is also the beauty of it, right? And so I would say, and tell me like what you're also thinking, Monica, but like right now we are in a movement. We are definitely like moving to a much more structured way. We see that with different like, ATF approval on the speculation side, but in the same time, when you're looking really at the builder side, we see really like all those use cases being built as we speak, right? From like, decentralized finance to like, to micropayments, to very specific like use case, like getting a loans directly on a very decentralized way. And I think like Consensus since the start has been a big pioneer around that topics, providing different products that are sustainable and also like they're sustain their different users. Like for example, Metamask is the door for everything that you can do Web3, right? From a very clean transaction to getting and transacting with your NFT to buying and doing specific like, loan activities with decentralized finance, right? So this door to Web3 is helping on different ways. And I think like the beauty of it is that the combination of different products. Consensus is a suite of different products and an ecosystem of very valuable, let's say, thought leader in the space. And for all the builders out there, you can basically like build fully open source product on leveraging those technologies. And I think we are on the path of decentralization. As I mentioned before, like it's definitely a marathon, and we are seeing that, and we are growing with the whole community. The beauty of Web3 especially is seeing those products building in a further decentralization way and activating the community on much more permissionless innovation setup. We really unleash the innovation there. So and I'm looking forward to the next years coming. It's very interesting because I've been around since almost the start, and seeing the community grow, seeing those products being more reliable, it's such an exciting moment, right? And for me, obviously, like I will always say that we are extremely like kind of like advanced around our journey, but at the same time, I agree that the goal is to onboard the next billion users. And when we're speaking about users, we definitely need more consumer-facing application. We definitely need to work a lot on specific like usability functions. That's why all these topics around account abstraction is very exciting. But we can deep dive later on this.
Yeah, staying with you, Francesco, I gave some examples in the beginning of Web3. So you spoke about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And there was a lot of hype when that first started off. And then we saw this terrible collapse, I guess, in value for a lot of these NFT tokens. But it hasn't gone away. It's still there. And I think people are starting to realize that the technology itself is pure and it's valuable. And it is a way that you can tokenize real-world assets, and you can basically bring value to all sorts of things which previously there was no market for, property being an example. So take us a little bit further and explain to us how this is going to impact our lives. We've decentralized finance has also been there for a while. How is that progressing?
Yes. That's a great question. And I think like Monica, you have a lot to say also on those specific use case. But if I can take a stab on it, like I think like there are very strong use case, especially like in countries, so let's say where different like policies are weakening a little bit on the user side, right? We see a lot of like use case, especially like on the trying to get loans, trying to leverage against the local currency. And I think those are the strongest life changer use case. I was recently in Cape Town, but before that we were in Lagos, and we were seeing like some hackers and some users buying not just NFTs but also like exchanging their salary with stable coin. And it made me happy a little bit, because like you see those specific use cases that are really life changer, especially like in economies that are very very aware of those different, inflation and dilution, but also in the loan industry, for example, we see a lot of like people there cannot get any loans, even if they have a great track record. So like banking with very minimal product is a necessity. And, either getting loans or creating a specific track record of the family businesses, it's a must, right? And those specific use cases, I think they're really the most impacted. But in the same time, like around the settlement and tracking for like, think about like a coffee supply chain or very specific like a supply chain use case is something that I'm super excited about to see more. I think today we have different, let's say, stakeholder in a business process, right? And at the same time, we need to have some kind of more transparent way to build those system on a more full decentralized way, meaning also that your system that you're building on top of it will not be down. Like, it's very interesting because we're seeing a lot of like Web2 let's say technology that sometimes they're down, and then as a consequence different websites are also like not working for sometimes a lot, right? And the interesting things about technologies like Ethereum is that they are powered by different nodes, and those nodes are relying on different ways of the infrastructure, and having the infrastructure relying on specific nodes and having a minimum failure kind of like activity, what does it mean? That even if one or two nodes are down, the system is still working. So that's also like the beauty of it, that we are decentralizing a lot of those use cases, and a lot of like specific use case like could be like getting loans, interacting with specific like stable coin, de-risking your position within the ecosystem. I think that's extremely valuable. But I think like Monica, you have a lot of those use case in mind, especially that you see around South Africa being used a lot.
Yeah, Monica, you want to jump in there?
Well, for me, what I'm still waiting and hoping that it will happen, watch the space, is when we start tokenizing financial instruments. I don't know if you've seen that there's been an announcement by Coinbase to tokenize money market instruments. And that is what I'm predicting is going to eventually happen. If traditional stock exchanges don't start considering tokenization, the same way we move from paper to dematerialization, we now need to move from dematerialization to tokenization, which means using Web3 technology, that this whole new infrastructure and blockchain technology and stablecoins for settlement and even CBDCs, wholesale central bank digital currencies are coming to enable the Web3 clearing and settlement of ultimate equities. And that's why, Kieran, you're seeing all stock exchanges losing listings, because the cost of listing is so exorbitant that it doesn't make sense anymore when you have decentralized finance protocols where you just can tokenize the instrument, put it into a DeFi protocol without asking anybody permission, a broker or no one, and you can trade your token. And these decentralized finance protocols are all interoperable. It's called composability. But the point is that imagine, living in an open source world where you can actually, without having to rely on a broker or a bank, do your own transactions. And that is the world that we are building, and we are empowering those that are adventurous to actually use this technology and learn to become their own bank and their own, broker and their own, financial institution, as it were. So that for me is the one that is still coming, and I feel sorry for stock exchanges that are not considering this new technology. Yeah,
Monica, just staying on this subject of tokenization and Web3, you're doing a lot of research, or Consensus is doing a lot of research around this. What is the research showing? Is tokenization going to be the big application in your opinion?
So As you know, people are very aware, especially, we do this research every year. So I've got the results from the 2023 research that we did. Consensus does a lot of research around the world. And what's fascinating is to see that 98% of the population is aware of cryptocurrencies. And 40% of South Africans are familiar with the concept of Web3, which is incredible, because I always think that the problem with these new technologies is that we need to educate more people. But it's amazing how South Africans are very interested. I think that is because, as you know, Kieran, there's a historical concern about foreign exchange controls. There's a concern about the reliability of the rand. And there's many, solutions that South Africans are looking to maybe diversify. So it's incredible how they are paying attention and studying all these new technologies. And the one that I can see in South Africa a lot that is happening is really in supply chain, because of our agricultural interest. Also because of the fact that we have a big mining industry and the supply chain of the mining industry. I don't know if you're aware that one of the first use cases of Web3 happened around 2017 with the tokenization, funny enough, of diamonds. It's called the Kimberley process. That as and when the diamonds were extracted, there was given a number, put in the blockchain, and it could be tracked, so much so that you could go to a jewelry shop and buy a diamond and know where the diamond came from to make sure that there's not blood diamond of any sort.
I remember this use case about diamonds. I think also like tracking real world assets and doing the tokenization on chain is a big topic that is happening right now. And I see also like follow-up use case like coffee. I think was around like meat tracking. But I think diamond was a big use case. I remember even a company that was tracking the full life cycle around diamonds, from like basically the production to the distribution. And the cool thing is that you have also like specific guarantee of tracking. So you can also like follow up with like certificates. And that's where like I remember the wave of carbon certificate coming up afterwards. And those like reward asset tokenization is still a big use case. I'm also like very excited. I remember, Monica, we were discussing this once on fractionalization of assets. Like a lot of time, especially like on not just like on high valuable assets, but also like could be real estate tokenization. There is a lot of interesting like use case there that I think also like help the users getting a fraction of the profit of the investments. That I think today the processes are too too difficult to do. And I think especially like on those investments are very, very interesting.
Yeah, Francesco, let's stay with you for a bit. You mentioned about the benefits of decentralization and the security. We've just seen this CrowdStrike outage, which affected so many different business, millions of computers affected around the world. I mean, there's that, I think thousands of flights were canceled. People couldn't return to South Africa from the United States because of this. So it kind of exposed
Yeah, I mean, I think like you touched on a really good point of what happened a couple of days ago. I think there are different episodes, right? Like we see probably like every week also like on password leakage on different like, companies, even like data being sold on different websites. So there is also the privacy kind of like concern, not just the infrastructure like concern. And I think like those like specific like use case in terms of like having an infrastructure that is reliable, having also like a full kind of like fractionalized node ownership, meaning also like how you're storing information is extremely important. And it will be more and more important because I don't preview that those things like privacy leaks will not happen anymore. I think actually like we're building more and more a decentralized way, and I think we will see much more of those episodes, right? And just to say it, like, definitely like is a solution, like providing different, like, distributed node to run infrastructure today. But I think also like there are different use cases that are benefit from this, right? And I think not just, the infrastructure business, but also think about all the social media ownership. Think about also like we just recently saw, I think it was this week, that Meta was announcing their newest AI model, and also like mentioning, how much it was the budget to train those models. And it was very interesting because all this training is done kind of like on an internal base. What does it mean? Like, think about if those AI models will be fully open source, and company could fully train those models on an open source way. Like, those budget will be much more cheaper, because what you can do in a nutshell is distributing the responsibility of training those models to different companies. And I think like it's a general kind of way and vision to open sourcing and decentralize the product that we are using every day. And infrastructure is just one way to do things. But there are different other use cases, like privacy, how you do basically like social management, like all the product, literally every product that we're using today is running on a centralized infrastructure. Your password are secured on a centralized infrastructure. And a lot of time, even if there are different like protocols that could be secured, like you don't know how this will work, because obviously like it's all being done on a internal basis, right? And that's why I think, and we saw that with all the kind of the rise of everything around GitHub, around open sourcing, that the right way to do things is in a transparent way, that both the community and the users and the builder around you know exactly what is happening. That's why open sourcing code is the way to go, right? And I think like those are kind of like the three iceberg like use case that I think like they will provide much more let's say security for all the users out there. There will be people that will be more conscious to the fact that their data is not like utilized in some bad way. And that's why it's also like very exciting, because if you're telling me, okay, there is a product built like this, it's fully open source, you can actually check, you can exactly know what is happening, and you can use it your own way. I think that's where it excites me the most, and I'm excited about this future, right? And in the same way, I see different companies growing on specific ways, and at the same time, the only things that I can say always, like at the end, is the users that is making a decision of what to use or what not to use. And we are all about also like educating much more on how to do those things properly on a better way. That's why we're involved a lot within education. We're involved a lot around teaching users on how self-manage their finance, how to start using those products, but most important, how to interact with a better kind of like technology system that is actually like defending the right of your data ownership, the right of you owning your finance, and really like make sure that you know exactly what is happening around you.
Very good. Okay, Monica, let's turn to you. Let's talk about decentralized finance that has been around for a while. I'd like to hear from you what advances have been made in decentralized finances. Is it going to be the future of transactions in the world, or is it going to bypass the banking system, make traditional banking as we understand it more and more irrelevant, or are we going to see a sort of a bridge between traditional and decentralized finance?
I definitely see it as it's going to be a bridge, and I tell you why. We saw it when we implemented dematerialization of the stock market. We thought that we were going to get rid of the transfer agents because you don't need them in a dematerialized environment. But they still exist. You know why? Because a lot of people were holding on to the share certificates and they didn't want to give it up. We know for sure, like the people that Francesco deal with, they're all super clever, they're techies, they love to do their own thing, and they're not scared of DeFi, which still the user interface is quite scary for people like me, like I'm a boomer, I'm a chartered accountant, I'm not a technician, so I still get a little bit scared interacting with DeFi. So what really is going to happen, mark my words, is what happened in the stock market, which is the traditional finance will start integrating, will start accepting DeFi as the way to do business, but they're going to do it on behalf of the clients. In the same way that we have Metamask, Consensus, which is a wallet, we also have what is called Metamask for institutions, which is an incredible tool because what it does is you give the Metamask for institutions to an institution, and then they can use all the DeFi protocols and more on behalf of clients. Because let's be honest, the boomers still own most of the wealth in the world, and they cannot even begin to comprehend what's going on. So they rather give the money to someone else to look after them. And that's why today we have an electronic traded fund for Bitcoin and one for ETH, when in fact you could go into any exchange and buy it yourself. Why would you buy an ETF? It's stupid. But it's not stupid for someone who's super scared of buying the crypto in an exchange and then having to take it out into a cold storage. They don't even know what cold storage means, blah, blah, blah. So can you see that I believe that the banks that will survive are the ones that will embrace this technology and say to the clients, we're here to help you, and we are trusted, and we're regulated, and we know what we're doing. All that marketing mumbo-jumbo that the banks use. People will buy into that because they feel more comfortable dealing with an intermediary that understands and can give them the certainty that if there's something's wrong, you can phone someone. And the regulators love it because they can go and regulate someone, because DeFi, who are they going to phone? Ghostbusters? No one, because there's no one behind it. It's just a protocol. So can you see why the world will not move to DeFi and ignore traditional finance? It will be a complete integration of the two worlds.
Good answer. I agree with that. Okay, so final question here for Francesco. Very quickly, Francesco, if you can tell us a bit about Metamask. That is a consensus product. I do have a Metamask myself. But there's been a lot of advances in that. Maybe explain what is so special about this wallet.
Yeah, for sure. So so just to give like a step back here in the answer, so Consensus is the parent company. MetaMask is one product. We have also like different other products like Infura, like Linea. But around MetaMask itself, obviously, a lot of people are using it. Is the front door, is kind of like the gateway door to everything Web3. You can start dealing, you can swap token, you can onboard yourself, you can basically on-ramp and buy some of your first cryptocurrency on MetaMask. And you can also do different things. As we mentioned before, you can basically store and have some of your NFT out there. I'm excited always to spread awareness around something called MetaMask Portfolio. So it's basically like a browser on where your MetaMask basically is there, and you can do different things. You can do swapping. You can even use MetaMask staking. There are different ways that you can interact with. So it's everything your door to Web3. And the cool thing is that you can basically interact with any dApps, any decentralized application out there in the Web3 ecosystem. Getting a loan in Aave, buying your first NFT, going directly to playing some of your favorite gaming dApps, right? There is different application to anything, and kind of the point of the center point here is MetaMask, right? Because today you can use it as a browser extension, you can use it in your mobile phone. So there are different ways to interact with everything Web3. And the cool thing is that it's kind of integrated with a lot of product in Web3 today. And in the same time, we're working on very different exciting things. We're having this add-on called Metamask Naps. They are basically like think about like add-on for your browser. There are different kind of feature extension that you can do, like for example interacting with other blockchains, right? So you basically like we're trying to bring together and bridge all the other ecosystem, because right now a lot of like let's say builder and ecosystem that are being built, and we have definitely this responsibility to bring the ecosystem together and make really the life of newcomers easier to jump in this ecosystem. We're working on different things, right? We're working always on different usability. We just launched, we're coming from ECC Brussels, one of the biggest ecosystem conference in Web3. And we launched these things called delegation toolkit. But the long story short is that you are able to start delegating and work with these smart accounts. So basically like you will have different owners of your account, and you delegate ownership and functionality to other users. So think about like use case like having like a family wallet and you're giving like light wallets to your kids, right? So these kind of like use cases are very important. So we're trying to increase this usability around the usual person that we use it. I want everybody that we use and interact with Web3, right? From my brothers, sister, my mom, my grandma. So I think this is extremely important to understand that our responsibility, and this is for everybody, we want to definitely onboard the next billion of users. And while we're doing that, we want to salvaguard and defend the right of the users to be private all the time, to having an infrastructure that is reliable and is usable. And I think that's where we're working on. And it's not a sprint, is a journey. And I think, Monica, you have tons to say about, where we are heading to.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Fascinating discussion with Francesco Andrioli, who is the lead of the development community at Consensus, and Monica Singer, no stranger to the Moneyweb Crypto Podcast, South African advisor for Consensus. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Moneyweb Crypto Podcast, hosted by Kieran Ryan. To listen to our other podcasts, go to moneyweb.co.za or the Moneyweb app and follow Moneyweb News for daily updates.